Jumping into the number 5 spot of the best Black Friday TV deals is the Hisense U6HF, coming in at a typical price tag of $599.99 for the 58-inch variant, now on sale to $359.99. If at any point during the video you want to check out any of the 5 TVs, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. But let's talk about the U6HF. Firstly, the HF signifies that this uses Fire TV as its OS. Full screen brightness hits around 450 nits of brightness, which is very good for the price, especially now on sale. Highlights will go as high as 580 nits in HDR, which is actually really impressive, but exceptional for the sale price. Colors are also great, covering almost the entire DCI-P3 color space, which is pretty rare in this class of TV alone, even without it being on sale. Contrast ratio, or how deep those blacks are really going to appear, natively is very good at around 7,500 to 1. But the cool thing is, crazy enough, this has full array local dimming, bringing that contrast ratio when local dimming is on to 25,000 to 1, making much deeper, inkier blacks. Now, viewing angles aren't amazing like an IPS panel, so the colors will wash out if you're at more extreme viewing angles, except for the 75-inch variant, which switches over to an IPS panel. So if you do prioritize viewing angles, the 75-inch panel will have great viewing angles from the sides. As for gaming performance, it's very good for a 60 Hz panel with pretty amazingly low input lag with ALLM or auto low latency mode. This also has variable refresh rate and HDR that can be on at the same time. So if you're happy with a 4K 60 Hz gaming experience, this does a great job for the price and works with the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S at that 4K 60 Hz. But with that, let's move on to the number 4 spot, which is the TCL Q6. Now, typical pricing for the 75-inch variant was $899.99, but now it's on sale for $648. And while this doesn't actually say Black Friday deal on like the Amazon page, click link below, this has just gone on sale today for this price, so it is kind of a Black Friday deal. Now, brightness is great, consistently hitting just shy of 500 nits. That's full screen brightness. That's nice, bright, and vibrant. Doesn't go super high in the highlights, but this is expected in this class of TV. HDR gets a little bit brighter overall, but the colors look great in HDR as this covers quite a bit of the DCI-P3 color gamut, making this a very vibrant and pretty TV. This also has Google TV as the OS, which is my favorite OS, and is definitely a pro over the Hisense U6HF, which had Fire TV. Still, Fire TV is great, but Google TV is where it's at. Native contrast ratio is great at about 8,000 to 1, but there's no local dimming here, so that's all you're gonna get is that 8,000 to 1 contrast ratio. Still very good, but not incredible. Viewing angles here are typical for a VA panel, so they wash out at more extreme angles. However, gaming performance here is where this excels, and this is amazing gaming TV, especially right now on sale. This natively is only 60 Hz. However, this uses resolution halving to get 120 Hz at 1440p and 1080p. So using this at high refresh rate can still be done on the Series X and S and PS5. This also has very low input lag at 120 Hz, so gaming on it is just really nice. The PS5 can do variable refresh rate with HDR at 4K 60 Hz, 1440p 120, and the same thing at 1080p. The Xbox can do HDR and variable refresh rate at 4K 60 Hz, but not at 1440p 120. It can do 1440p 120, but doesn't have HDR, just variable refresh rate. Same story at 1080p. This is because the Xbox only allows HDR to be on when it is using a 4K resolution. But with that, let's move on to the number 3 spot. And this is the Sony X85K with the 65-inch typically priced at $898, now on sale $100 to $798. Brightness and SDR is hitting around 550 nits extremely consistently. HDR gets a little brighter at about 545 nits, but doesn't give you those brighter highlights. Still very nice and vibrant and a bright TV overall, but those highlights don't pop out. Colors are great though, as this covers most of the DCI-P3 color gamut. So especially in HDR, this is a very pretty, beautiful TV. Now, native contrast ratio here is very good at about 7,500 to 1, but there's no local dimming like the Q6, so you're stuck with that contrast ratio. Viewing angles are also the same as the previous TV, with colors washing out when you get more to the left and right at more extreme angles. However, gaming performance here is great. This is where you can take full advantage of the Xbox Series X and S and PS5 being a natively 120 Hz panel. This also has variable refresh rate in the form of G-Sync, so if you have an NVIDIA card and you use a PC to game on a TV, well, there you go. And like I said, this is fully compatible with the PS5, Xbox Series X and S at 4K 120 Hz with variable refresh rate and HDR you're getting everything here. Overall, a really good TV, but I do think the number 2 spot is just a little bit better, and that is the TCL Q7. Coming in at a typical price tag for the 55-inch at $749.99, now on sale for only $498. In SDR, full screen brightness is around 550 nits, which is great, with the highlights going all the way up to 900 nits, which is amazing. This TV is stunning. Now in HDR, this is a stunning dynamic image. Full screen brightness is great, getting a little bit brighter, and highlights absolutely pop in HDR. You're definitely not gonna be wanting more brightness with this TV. If you have a bright room, a lot of lights in the room, sunlight coming in, don't worry about it with this TV. It does a great job of pushing reflections away with that super high brightness. Colors are also fantastic here using a quantum dot layer, increasing that coverage to well over 95% of the DCI-P3 color gamut, making HDR content look absolutely amazing. Now, native contrast ratio here is actually very good at about 9,500 to 1, but with local dimming on, this goes all the way up to 80,000 to 1, giving you very deep inky blacks. This is where it starts to feel more like an OLED in terms of blacks. So beautiful. The local dimming also has 160 zones on the 65-inch and 200 zones on the 75 and 85-inch variants. Viewing angles here are pretty typical for VA panels, so if you get to more of an extreme angle to the left or the right, you are gonna get some of the colors washing out. Now, game performance here is freaking awesome. This hits 144 Hertz at 4K or 120 Hertz with consoles, but goes all the way up to 240 Hertz at 1080p if you're using this with a PC, which is awesome. This is also fully compatible with the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S at 4K, 120 Hertz with HDR and variable refresh rate. This is an absolute beast for gaming. This also has extremely low input lag, so you're gonna have no problems with gaming. This thing rocks. But with that, let's move on to the number 1 best Black Friday TV deal, and this is by far the Hisense U8K. Typically priced for the 75-inch variant at $1,949.99, now only $1,289.97. By far, this is the best TV deal this Black Friday. Now, while I don't have this TV myself, I am heavily considering buying this, and I've done a ton of research from trusted sources on all the testing on this, so I'm gonna give you all the data to the best of my ability, but I actually might buy this TV today. It looks amazing. Now, brightness looks like it's hitting about 1,700 nits in SDR, that's the highlights, and then about 700 nits full screen brightness. That is unbelievably bright. I am super excited to get this TV in and check out how those highlights look, because that is wild. In HDR, it looks like highlights go all the way up to 2,100 nits, which is absolutely insane. Color coverage also seems to be pretty extraordinary here, covering a large amount of the wider Rec 2020 color gamut, which that can just future-proof your TV. Contrast ratio is also exceptional with local dimming on, going to 165,000 to 1. That is double the Q7, which is already amazing. That is exceptional. This is due to the TV having mini LEDs, so it has that amazing full array local dimming, which also having like over 1,000 local dimming zones, so it's probably gonna do very well, but we'll have to see. But I've heard great things about the U8K. As for gaming performance, it's fully compatible with the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, 4K, 120 Hertz, variable refresh rate, everything like that. But if you're on PC, this also hits 144 Hertz at 4K, and just like the Q7, 240 Hertz at 1080p, which is absolutely insane. I'm probably definitely gonna pick this TV up. But again, if you wanna check out any of the 5 deals in this video, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. The U8K though, absolutely extraordinary. I have the Q7 right now, and I very recently got it, but probably about 3 or 4 months ago, but I might have to replace it with the U8K. But yeah, this is Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.